Imagine a world where $100 trillion is shifting hands, reshaping nations, rewriting the rules of money, and redefining what we consider wealth. Sounds like science fiction? Well, it's happening right now, beneath the surface of our everyday lives. In the next few minutes, we'll reveal how this massive financial wave is about to change everything you know about money, investments, and global power. Stay tuned, because the future of the world economy is not what it used to be, and you're about to find out why. In the realm of global finance, few numbers evoke as much awe and speculation as $100 trillion. To put that into perspective, it's a figure so colossal that most people struggle to grasp its true significance. It's not just a number, it's a symbol of seismic shifts, power redistributions, and a new era of economic transformation. The magnitude of $100 trillion, more than just numbers. When we hear $100 trillion, our minds often jump to abstract concepts, an unfathomable sum of money that only governments and big corporations can even comprehend. But this figure isn't sitting idle in bank vaults. It's moving, shifting, and being strategically reallocated across the globe at lightning speed. The $100 trillion encompasses global assets, commodities, trade routes, and investments. An economic tsunami that is fundamentally redrawing the world's financial landscape. To understand its scale, consider that the total global GDP in 2023 was approximately $96 trillion. The $100 trillion figure surpasses that, representing the total value of global assets, including debt, savings, commodities, and tangible resources. This shifting tide is not just about wealth accumulation, it's about the redistribution of power and influence on a scale unseen since the end of the Second World War. The Quiet Revolution, a world in transition. Despite the calm and routine of daily life, people going to work, shopping, investing, the world is undergoing an extraordinary transformation beneath the surface. A financial earthquake is underway, and its epicenter is shifting away from traditional Western dominance towards a multipolar global order. Historically, the United States held sway over global finance through the dominance of the US dollar, which served as the world's primary reserve currency. Control of the dollar meant control of global trade, finance, and economic influence. However, since the end of World War II, this dominance has been relatively unchallenged, until now. The emergence of a new power structure is fueled by the $100 trillion pool of assets, commodities, and trade routes that are now moving away from Western control. This transition is not happening overnight, but is accelerating rapidly, with the potential for a sudden, irreversible shift once certain tipping points are reached. Central banks and the gold connection. One of the most telling signs of this shift is happening within the vaults of central banks. For decades, these institutions were net sellers of gold, viewing it as a relic of the past. Today, many are buying gold and other tangible assets as a hedge against a weakening dollar and unstable global financial system. Trillions are quietly flowing out of US dollar assets and into gold, silver, commodities like oil and uranium, and even into emerging digital assets backed by real-world resources. This movement signals a loss of confidence in the existing system, which is burdened with over $318 trillion in global debt, an amount that continues to climb. The pivot towards tangible assets reflects a fundamental reassessment of what value really means in a world where paper promises and digital entries are increasingly unreliable. The decoupling and the rise of new power blocks. The days of a unipolar world dominated by Western financial institutions are waning. Countries are forging new alliances and trade networks, often bypassing traditional dollar-based systems. BRICS and the new powerhouses. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are expanding their influence rapidly. These countries are building their own payment systems, commodity-backed lending mechanisms, and national reserves filled with hard assets rather than paper currencies. Their collective push is challenging the dollar's supremacy and creating a rival global financial system. Redrawing trade routes. Major energy deals now bypass the dollar entirely, with China and Russia spearheading initiatives to establish alternative trade routes and currency systems. For instance, Oil is increasingly being traded in yuan instead of dollars, signaling a potential end to dollar dominance in energy markets. The new system: tangible resources over paper promises. This shift toward resource-backed assets, gold, silver, energy, minerals, is creating a new global economy driven by the control of real, tangible resources rather than digital or paper promises. Countries rich in natural resources stand to gain power, while those heavily reliant on financial leverage may weaken. The stages of the $100 trillion shift. This colossal transfer of wealth and influence doesn't happen all at once. It unfolds in stages. Stage 1. Reduction of dollar exposure. Nations and institutions are quietly reducing their holdings of dollar-denominated assets, especially U.S. Treasuries, as confidence wanes. Stage 2. Shift in trade settlement. Global trade is increasingly settling in alternative currencies, bypassing the dollar. Countries are establishing bilateral agreements and using digital currencies backed by commodities. Stage 3. Reimagining safe assets. Traditional safe assets like U.S. government bonds are losing their appeal. Investors are flocking to tangible assets: gold, silver, real assets that can't be printed or digitally manipulated. This progressive shift creates an unstoppable momentum toward a new financial order. Where is the money going? The $100 trillion isn't vanishing. It's flowing into the safest, most tangible assets humanity has ever known. Gold and silver, the ultimate stores of value, increasingly sought after as hedge assets. Commodities, oil, uranium, agricultural products, and energy resources are becoming the backbone of new trade relations. Land and infrastructure. Strategic real estate and energy infrastructure are gaining importance. Digital assets. Blockchain-backed assets tied to real commodities are on the horizon, promising a new era of resource-backed digital currencies. This transition signifies a move from reliance on paper promises to control over physical resources. Why should you care? The implications of this $100 trillion movement are profoundly personal and far-reaching. Market volatility is expected to intensify, with stock markets revaluing in real time and currencies experiencing unpredictable fluctuations. As confidence in traditional fiat currencies wanes, inflationary pressures could soar, diminishing the value of savings and eroding purchasing power. Investment risks are evolving. Safe havens like U.S. bonds may become less reliable, prompting investors to pivot toward tangible assets such as metals, land, and commodities. For individuals planning for retirement, this shift could impact the value of current savings and investment strategies, requiring more strategic adjustments. On a broader scale, nations controlling vital resources will gain increased geopolitical power, while those heavily reliant on debt and financial systems may weaken. Understanding these changes is essential for protecting wealth and making informed financial decisions in this new economic era. The road ahead: a world in flux. As we look toward the future, several signs indicate the ongoing transition. Countries experimenting with gold-backed currencies. Oil and commodities traded increasingly in alternative currencies. The expansion of the BRICS alliance and other resource-based economic groups. Central banks accumulating tangible assets rather than digital or fiat reserves. This isn't mere speculation. It's happening now. The next major signs could be the announcement of new resource-backed currencies or geopolitical moves that signal a fundamental reordering of global power. Preparing for the Great Reset. The $100 trillion shift is not just a distant abstract concept, it's an imminent reality. The global financial system is undergoing a profound transformation that could redefine wealth, influence, and day-to-day life. Your best defense is awareness. Understanding these changes allows you to position yourself wisely, whether that means diversifying your investments, accumulating tangible assets, or simply staying informed. In a world where old financial empires fall and new ones rise from their ashes, those who recognize the signs early will be better prepared to navigate the coming landscape. So, what does all this mean for you? The $100 trillion shift isn't just a distant headline. It's a seismic change that could impact your savings, investments, and daily life in ways you never imagined. The key is awareness. And now you're one step closer to understanding the New World Order in the making. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because staying informed is your best defense in these changing times. Thanks for watching. See you in the next update on this incredible global transformation.